interested in relocating and buying land in Panama. Obviously, there are tons of things to consider and steps to take when doing a process like this. So today's video, we are going to share all the dirty details on what it's like buying land, negotiating, and the whole
kit and caboodle.
And the whole kit and caboodle.
You actually said.
No, I'm not doing that.
So this is our land here. We bought this land about 2 months ago.
Oh,
and
shiz.
Man, when we first thought about moving here, kind of all of our like preconceived notions, is that the saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to sound smart.
Our perceptions.
Yeah, all of our perceptions, a lot of them were wrong.
As we traveled down through Central America in this school bus that we're actually converting into a permanent tiny house, we, out of curiosity, looked at prices of land in Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and we could not believe how freaking cheap it was.
Except for Costa Rica. We couldn't believe how expensive Costa Rica was. But then we came here to Panama. And the general rule of thought is Panama is about half expensive as Costa Rica. Well, that's what all the other travelers told us that were coming north through the Pan American Highway.
So as we ventured through Central America and found our way to Boquete, Panama, we of course fell in love.
Yeah. We started looking at land probably, what, 3 days? I remember you were a little sick and I started going around looking at land. So now we've looked at property in California, we've looked at property in Tennessee, and now something that we never thought we'd ever do, we looked at property in Panama. And my first thought was probably get land for pretty cheap, maybe like 5 acres for $20,000. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I bet it's a really, really good deal. What did you think?
I felt the same exact way. I was like, comparing to our experience looking at land all throughout Central America, it's got to be somewhat similar.
So we started learning a lot about the history of this place. And Boquete, it's really, really popular. There's a lot of people, a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of Europeans, people from all over the world that have moved here or want to come and move here.
In 2006, Boquete was named one of the top places to retire in the whole entire world.
Panama really going hard after retirees. You can get up 20 to 50% discounts on your medical care, concerts, movies, air travel. We focused on Boquete. It's a mountain town, a lot cooler in the summers than you're going to find in the lowlands.
A lot of Americans there?
And suddenly this small little coffee farming town that used to have more horses in town than cars became very, very popular, very, very fast. And now it looks a little something like this.
So from 2006 to 2008, people were buying land like crazy. People were buying land without even looking at it because this place was turning into such a hot spot.
And then, bang, the United States has their recession in 2008, and a lot of people who had dreams and aspirations of coming and retiring here, maybe having a little investment property, building a house, maybe flipping it, a lot of that had to go by the wayside.
So what's really funny and interesting is that all the people that we talked to when we were looking at land were actually the children of the owners of the property.
And all the sellers that we talked to had no interest in living here or ever really living here. So a lot of them were really just trying to unload it. And that's what we heard over and over, that right now in this town, it's a buyer's market. There's a lot that's available. There's a lot of property that's available. And there's a lot of people that are just trying to get out because their parents bought it or they bought it over a decade ago and they just don't want it anymore. All right, so now you're probably thinking, okay, so the land's probably pretty expensive. So that $20,000 to $40,000 range that we were expecting, you're probably thinking it doesn't exist. And I'm here to tell you it does exist. And this is it. We looked at this lot right here. We actually made an offer on this lot.
This one was, I think it was 50, right?
It was listed at $49,000. It was that same story of some people looking to move down here, bought this lot and the next 3 lots over, all without looking at it. And now the sons have inherited it and they're trying to flip it really quick.
So you're probably thinking, for such a low price, why the heck didn't we follow through? And the biggest reason I'll tell you right now is what's below the surface here.
Look at this. This is all clay. And something that we noticed is in this area, there are no farms and we're looking to do a homestead.
Yeah.
So could we have made it work? Maybe.
And while the views here are absolutely insane.
Let me just show you, check this out. So beautiful, you can see all the way down to the ocean.
It's amazing, it's amazing. But It's in an area called Caldera, which is about 25 to 30 minutes from Boguete, which is the area that we loved so much.
And it's also, the climate's different. It's hot here. It's maybe, what, 10 degrees warmer?
Yeah, it's really hot.
And the thing that draws people to Boguete is the weather. It's between 65 and 80, 365 days out of the year. You don't need insulation. You don't need heating. You don't need cooling, because it's just always the perfect temperature. Oh man, Kaylee, can you imagine trying to farm with this? Dude. Look at this.
I'm like...
We thought about it we were really close. We made an offer on this
I
land.
can't even believe we made an offer.
It didn't look like this though, because it was the rainy season, but this is rock solid.
That is straight up rock.
I think that this place is good for the right person. Someone who's looking for a land on a budget. You're not looking to do any farming. Maybe you like it a little warmer, like Brittany and Drew. They're from Florida. They love the heat.
Right.
For us, being able to be in a t-shirt and jeans, maybe put on a sweatshirt at night. And
maybe even having the opportunity to light a little fire at night. That is my kind of weather.
That's exactly why we're living north. One other thing to remember is Boguete is one of the most expensive places to live in all of Panama. So as you start to get further away, as you get more into Caldera, land gets cheaper and cheaper. It even gets cheaper than this. But for us, we had a list, and there were some things that we really wanted. There were some things that we wanted around us, and some things we wanted near us. So after looking around at a few different lots, we determined we want to be close to town. We want to be 10 to 20 minute drive, but far enough away that we would have more animals for neighbors. Like this bull over here, look at this guy.
That is a big boy.
We wanted to have more animals than people. We wanted space. We didn't want to be felt claustrophobic and all the houses are stacked up on top of each other.
Right.
So this is the first one that we looked at that we thought was a possibility.
And we honestly immediately fell in love. We fell in love with the view, we fell in love with the seclusion, we fell in love with the soil. Everything about it was just, a lot of the check marks were being checked off.
Except for two things. Number one, this is $150,000, which is about double our max price range that we were looking for.
Yeah.
And number two, there's some serious erosion going on just over there. So we started to realize that a lot of properties were around this price. It was hard to find anything over 2 acres for under $125,000 that was remotely close to town. So what we decided to do was go a different route.
Yeah.
At this point, we had only talked to real estate companies, real estate agents, helping us find land.
Right.
And we heard, if you can find local Panamanians that are selling the land directly,
you can get it for a lot cheaper.
And it's true.
Woo, it's windy here. So we looked at probably about 6 or 7 privately owned lots, and we soon found out that all of those lots were either A, really sloped, so there wasn't a whole lot that you could do with the land, and B, it was really hard to get to. So this one in particular that we're at, woo, we actually...
This is our favorite one.
Oh my god, there's another freaking bull on it. Hey bud!
This is the favorite privately owned lot that we looked at.
Yeah, it's nice, but as you can see, there's already a pretty significant slope, and then once you get a little bit further down, it's like straight down. And it was getting closer to what we wanted.
It was getting closer. This one was more in the price range too. It's $45,000 for this one.
Right.
I think it was 3 acres. So this was right in the wheelhouse, but it was like, did we want to own a whole piece of land that was like this?
Yeah. And
then went like that. Exactly. So we started, at this point was when we started learning about usable land.
Right.
So just because you bought 5 acres doesn't mean all 5 acres were usable.
When we're at the place in our lives where we want to invest in a plot of land, we weren't willing to do it at a place that we weren't feeling super excited about.
We wanted to sacrifice as little of the things that we wanted as possible.
Right.
And for us, this wasn't it. And the thing was, the realtors, I heard I've been pronouncing that wrong.
So many of you guys gave us so much crap for saying that wrong.
The realtors had the land that we wanted. It seemed like they had the land that people sought after.
Totally, because they knew, they're smart. That's why they're realtors.
A lot of the local land that we went and checked out, you had to actually walk to it. Like you couldn't even drive your car up to it. And it was like this, straight uphill. Yeah. Well, this is the second lot. And you can immediately tell how much more overgrown it is. Really nice view. You can see the volcano, see the town.
It's a beautiful view.
But it's really up a steep hill to get here.
It's a gnarly hill. I think that's the steepest hill I've ever driven up on in a car.
Yeah, for sure. We couldn't even drive up it. We had to walk up it.
Yeah. So. It was cheap, it was beautiful, but man, I don't want to be walking up and down to my house every single day.
So at this point, we'd been in Boquete for 2 months, and we'd really narrowed down where we wanted to live, and that was here. This is Jaramillo. So the valley, the Boquete Valley, there's a volcano on one side, which is Volcan Baru, and then there's a mountain on the other side, which is Jaramillo. So we wanted to be up on Jaramillo so we could look at Volcan Baru. So what we did is we told all the realtors? You guys know what I mean. We told all the realtors that were selling land what we wanted. And we said, go and find it for us and show us what you got. So the first land that we looked at was this one right here. And you can see the little triangle up on the hill. It's 3/4 of a hectare, which I think is like 2 acres about. And for that, it was $133,000. We were just like, man, maybe if we really negotiated, but even then, you can just see how slanted it is. And this is what we were really starting to learn now is, yeah, you could get acreage, but it's slanted like this and you basically end up owning like a cliffside. And we wanted acreage to be able to plant, to be able to build houses, to be able to do stuff like that. And that just wasn't gonna cut it for us.
So we knew that with the way things are going, there was going to be at least some kind of sacrifice we were going to have to make to find our absolute dreamlands that we've been envisioning in our minds.
And to get it for the right price.
Right.
And then we came here and we found this piece of land. It was perfect. Except for Kaylee. Kaylee was like,
this is it! This is the one!
You just get those feels while you're there. Maybe we should bring you guys there. I think we should show you. We actually put it up on our little vision board. These are all the things that we want to have happen in 2019. So we put it up right here. And maybe we should just bring you guys here right now.
Frickin' second we drove up here and pulled over and got out of the car, literally the second we got here, we both just looked at each other and it was like we knew. We knew that whether this was gonna be the property or not, we were absolutely in love with this place.
This property had everything that we wanted. It checked all the boxes. There's nobody around. There's cows all over the place. There's not another house in sight. We have a beautiful view of the volcano.
It's still close enough to town so we can drive to town in literally 10 minutes.
The land's flat to build houses and farm and do everything that we want to do, and it's 2.5 acres. So the things that it didn't have, well, the road getting here is pretty rough. It's a pretty bad dirt road, and there's no water.
Right.
But we're doing off-grid anyways. We wanted to do rainwater collection this whole time. So that was totally cool with us. And that was a really good thing because when we found out that there wasn't any water, the sellers were crushed. They bought this land 15 years ago and were told that there was water on it, and there's no water.
But it was good for us because it made it a lot more negotiable.
Yeah, and who's gonna buy a piece of land with no water on it other than people who are crazy like us that wanna live off grid? So this land that we bought was listed at $100,000. And after we negotiated and went through everything, went through the whole process, we ended up signing a contract for $73,000. So that's what we paid for this. That's what 2.5 acres in Boquete with no water will get you.
And a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well,
I could pay that in the States.
Insane amount of money. I could easily get $50,000 worth of land.
And what I'll tell you is, we're not professionals by any means, but we looked around at land in the States. We've been looking for land for 2 years, a year and a half, always just poking around, always looking. Specifically
looking at lots near towns or cities that we absolutely loved. And it wasn't realistic for us to live within a reasonable distance to a city or town that we loved for the price that we could afford.
Especially with an airport. That was a really big deal for us. We're 45 minutes away from an airport, and tomorrow we're flying to Panama City to go see Kaylee's dad. This land for us checked all the boxes. It was within our budget. We pulled the trigger on it, and now it's been 6 months that we've been officially living in Boquete. I couldn't be happier.
Could not be happier.
So we're just closing up our fence here. We're heading out of the land. We're just gonna chill for the rest of the evening before we hop on a flight tomorrow morning.
Daddy, I'm coming for you.
But we just got one last piece of advice for any of you that are aspiring to come and move here to Boquete, Panama. And that is, once you start asking questions, once you start inquiring about answers, you're gonna get so much information and so many conflicting pieces of information. And listen to all that information, listen to everything that everyone has to tell you, but listen to it all with a grain of salt. And at the end of the day, make your checklist, make the things that are important to you, not what people tell should be important to you.
Exactly.
And then get the person, get people, tell people what you want, tell realtors what you want, or tell local Panamanians what you want, and go with whoever can give you the most things on your checklist. You don't need to be loyal to one realtor, you don't need to be loyal to one person. You have to do it for yourself, and you have to find the things that are important to you, and just find someone who can give it to you. So with us, we talked to all the realtors. We ultimately ended up buying this land through Cost of Solution because they had it. They were representing this land. So that's why I went with them, and they were awesome. They were great. Every realtor that we talked to was great. We had great experiences with everybody, but they just had the land that we wanted, and that's what we told them.
Exactly. And another big thing that I think is something to keep in mind is to be patient. Don't just, jump the gun and buy something because it's a good price, because we did that. We put an offer on one of those lots that we showed you down in Lucero, which had clay soil. You couldn't grow anything there.
I think the thing is to take your time.
Take your time.
But also don't fall into analysis paralysis. Keep it moving, keep looking, keep hunting, and then you'll find the right one. And we did. We're so happy with what we have, and we're so excited to keep building this. But I think that's all we got for today.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we wanted to be completely transparent about our whole experience, because I know there are a lot of you guys out there that are interested in coming to Panama, specifically Boquete, and dealing with a similar experience as us.
But that's all we got for you this time. We'll see you 3 or 4 days.
See you when you see ya.
Peace out.